A siren flares behind a black Lexus as it turns onto Cedar and 3rd. The driver checks her mirror and signals toward the curb. She has 20 minutes to reach court. She has handled bigger storms. Officer Nate Harris steps out of his cruiser, hand on his holster, eyes locked on the Lexus. His voice carries across the morning traffic. Exit the vehicle now. This car's flagged as stolen. Inside the Lexus, Judge Maya Cole keeps her breath steady. She studies his stance. She notes the angle of his shoulders. She watches the red light on the dashboard camera as it begins to record. Maya has spent 20 years on the federal bench. Before that, years in naval intelligence. Before that, the long grind of law school and trial work. She knows when to speak and when to let someone write their own report with their choices. Her purse sits on the passenger seat. Her court badge rests in a side pocket. Her mind runs ahead by 3 moves. No clear reason for the stop. No request for identification. Escalation at the first word. Officer Harris walks closer. His tone sharpens. Hands where I can see them. Do not move. Maya keeps her palms open on the wheel. Her voice is calm. Officer, I am reaching for my identification. You asked me to exit. I will comply after I show you who I am. A second cruiser rolls up behind the first. Officer Luis Ortiz steps out, scanning the scene, taking in the Lexus, the morning commuters, the blinking camera. His gaze moves between his partner and the driver. Harris glances back. She matches the description, requesting additional units for a stolen vehicle recovery. The street begins to fill. Drivers slow. Phones rise in windows. The city starts watching. Maya feels the weight of the moment settle. Yesterday, she issued a decision in United States versus Calder. New standards for traffic stops. Clear rules for identification checks. Firm limits on escalation without cause. The irony is not lost on her. She takes a slow count to 10. Steady. Grounded. Ready to speak with precision. Officer Ortiz steps closer. Voice lower, less rigid. Ma'am, please exit the vehicle slowly. Maya nods. She moves with care. She opens the door, steps out, keeps her credentials visible in her right hand. Sunlight hits the federal seal on the card. Her black suit stirs in the breeze. Harris ignores the badge in her hand, hands on the vehicle. Now. Maya places her palms on the warm metal, dignity intact, shoulders straight, voice even. I am Judge Maya Cole of the Harbor City Federal Court. My identification is in my hand. I am on my way to preside over a police misconduct hearing. Harris begins a pat-down that is needlessly rough. Maya speaks without raising her tone. Officer Harris, badge number 4186. You are approaching a violation of 18 U.S.C. Section 242. Deprivation of rights under color of law. Ortiz shifts his weight. He hears the statute. He sees the badge. He watches the crowd lean in. Across the street, a man in a slate suit stops on the sidewalk. Alex Kim, assistant district attorney and former clerk to Judge Cole. He meets her eyes. She gives the faintest nod. Alex begins to record on his phone and sends a text with practiced speed. Harris clicks handcuffs around Maya's wrists. The sound lands like a hammer on a board. She notes the time in her head. 9:17 in the morning. She speaks clearly for the camera. I am invoking my right to counsel. I am informing you that I am a federal judge. I have presented identification. You are detaining me without cause. Ortiz lowers his voice toward Harris. Check her ID. After we secure the scene, Harris says, waving him off. He turns to Ortiz with a thin smile. Search the vehicle. Ortiz hesitates, then moves to the passenger door. He opens the glove compartment. Registration, insurance, both in the name of Maya Cole. He holds them up. Nate, these look legitimate. Could be forged, Harris says without looking. Check the trunk. Dispatch crackles on Harris's radio asking for an update. He steps away to answer, leaving Maya in the lane of morning stares and rising heat. Ortiz opens the trunk and goes still. He calls across the car. Nate, you need to see this. Inside is a garment bag with the federal court seal. Next to it sits a leather briefcase with case files labeled for today's docket. A pair of black heels rest in a shoebox. Everything is neat, ordered, routine. Anyone can buy a costume, Harris mutters, but his voice has less steel now. Maya keeps her eyes on Ortiz. Officer Ortiz, my hearing starts in 20 minutes. The matter concerns traffic stop conduct. Today was meant to clarify your department's rules. This moment is now part of that record. Ortiz looks from the robe to the briefcase to Maya's cuffed wrists. His face tightens. He knows they are off the map. A new voice cuts through the noise on the radio. Lower. Measured. Unit 47. This is Lieutenant Jenna Park. Status at Cedar and 3rd. Harris responds. Standard stolen vehicle stop, Lieutenant. Suspect detained. Vehicle being searched. Has identification been verified, Unit 47? Harris pauses. Before he can answer, a 3rd cruiser pulls in. Lieutenant Jenna Park steps out. 2 decades of patrol and command rest in how she carries herself. She takes in the scene. The cuffs. The open trunk. The watching crowd. The sunlight flashing off a federal seal. I asked for backup, not oversight. Harris mutters. And yet oversight has arrived, she replies. Eyes on Maya. Lieutenant Park stops at a respectful distance, ma'am. May I have your name? Judge Maya Cole, Harbor City Federal Court. My identification is in my hand. I attempted to show it. Officer Harris escalated before verifying anything. Park nods once. Officer Ortiz, retrieve the purse and bring it to me. Ortiz follows the order and hands the purse to the lieutenant rather than to Harris. Park looks back to Maya. Judge, do I have your permission to open your purse for identification? You have my consent. Park opens the wallet. She inspects the judicial credentials and driver's license. Her face stays professional. Her eyes change. Remove the restraints, Officer Harris. Lieutenant, the vehicle matches. Remove the restraints now. Ortiz works quickly. The cuffs come off. He murmurs an apology. Harris stands rigid by the bumper. Jaw tight, shoulders locked. Maya rubs her wrists, then looks Harris in the eye. You have made several errors this morning. The consequences will follow the record you have chosen to build. Across the way, Alex ends a call and gives a firm nod to Maya. The wheels are already turning. Lieutenant Park gestures toward her cruiser. Judge Cole, step this way, please. I would like to speak with you privately. Harris steps forward. Lieutenant, I have not completed my investigation. The vehicle still needs to be secure the scene and remain by your unit, Officer Harris, Park says. Voice steady. Officer Ortiz, with us, please. They walk toward the command vehicle. The heat off the asphalt rises around them. Traffic has backed up for a block in both directions. 7 phones aim at the scene. A city witnesses an officer choose ego over procedure. A city also witnesses another officer choose the law. By the cruiser, Park keeps her tone measured. Judge, I apologize for what has occurred. I need to document this carefully. Officer Ortiz, start a new incident report. Ortiz pulls out his department tablet and opens a fresh file. The red light on Park's dash camera goes live. Maya speaks with clarity. Lieutenant, my hearing today is Cole v. Metro Police Department. It concerns traffic stop protocol and misconduct. This stop now intersects with that matter. Park nods, thinking through the implications. Her eyes say she already understands them. Her words stay calm. Judge, what was the exact make, model, and plate on your vehicle? Lexus LS. Current model. Plate ending in RQ7. Park turns to Ortiz. What did dispatch have on the stolen car? Ortiz checks his tablet. Black BMW 5 Series. Partial plate ending in JKV. Reported from the North Ridge garage last night. Park lets the comparison hang in the air, not even close. She turns back to Maya. Judge, would you prefer to drive your own car to court? Or will you consent to accompany us to the station so we can resolve this by the book? Maya weighs the choice. Station means more witnesses, more records, more accountability. I will go to the station, she says, on one condition. I will make one phone call now. Park nods. Of course, Maya dials her clerk. Mark, please inform Chief Justice Rivera that I have been detained by Officers Harris and Ortiz during a traffic stop. Lieutenant Park is attempting to resolve the matter. Delay the hearing by 1 hour. Have Alex Kim meet me at Central Precinct with the case files. She ends the call. The camera catches every word. Harris watches from a distance and begins to understand the size of his mistake. Park hands the keys to Ortiz. Secure the judge's vehicle. Bring it to the station. Maya steps into the back of the lieutenant's cruiser. Heat wraps the cabin. Outside, Harris argues into his radio. Ortiz signals a tow to the department garage with visible care in his movements. As Park pulls away, her phone buzzes. A short message flashes on the screen. Her jaw sets. The stakes just climbed. Judge Cole, she says as they merge into traffic. We may have a significant situation developing. Behind them, Cedar and Third returns to motion. Ahead of them, a building full of badges waits for a record that cannot be erased. The hook is simple. What happens when a badge ignores the law and the law refuses to bow? Stay with this story and watch the answer take shape in real time. The ride to Central Precinct feels heavy, not because of the short distance, but because of what it represents. Every passing block is another minute of records being written, cameras being checked, and phones buzzing in offices across the city. Judge Maya Cole sits upright in the back seat of Lieutenant Jenna Park's cruiser. Her wrists still ache faintly where the cuffs had pressed into her skin, but her mind is clear, sharper than it has been in months. She knows the law. She knows procedure. And she knows when a single moment tips from mistake into history. The station looms ahead, a concrete tower with glass panels glinting in the sunlight. Inside, the hum of phones, footsteps, and murmured conversations builds like a hive. The building seems ordinary, but today it carries the weight of consequence. As they enter through the side gate, uniformed officers pause. Some glance openly at the sight of a judge arriving in the back of a cruiser. Others lower their eyes, already suspecting what the whispers in the hall will say within the hour. Lieutenant Park gestures toward a side entrance. Judge, I'll take you directly to a conference room. We'll keep you out of processing. Maya nods. She knows the choice of room is no courtesy. It's strategy. A clean record. A chain of documentation that cannot be disputed. Inside the glass-walled conference room, the air smells of printer ink and fresh coffee. The blinds are half drawn, but through the slats she can see the bullpen. Clusters of officers whisper, casting sideways glances toward the unexpected guest. Park sets a tablet on the table and begins entering notes. Officer Ortiz follows, his posture tight but steady, holding his own tablet. Judge, Park says carefully, I'll need to review the morning's dispatch logs with you. We need to compare what was reported against what was done. Maya leans forward. Her voice is steady. Lieutenant, before we begin, I'll state clearly. I require the badge numbers of every officer involved, all dispatch audio, and copies of the dashboard and body camera recordings. Ortiz types quickly. His fingers tremble slightly, but he does not stop. Park nods. It will be done. The door opens and Chief Daniel Rios steps inside. A tall man with close-cropped hair and eyes that reveal the strain of too many late nights. The air shifts at his arrival. The bullpen noise lowers a notch. Judge Cole, the chief says, voice measured, I've just been informed of the situation outside. I want to make sure this is addressed properly. Maya meets his gaze without flinching. Chief Rios, I was unlawfully detained this morning despite presenting identification. Dispatch had already cleared my vehicle before escalation. This is not a minor matter. The chief exhales slowly, then turns to Park. Lieutenant, do you have the logs? She slides the tablet across the table. The stolen vehicle was a black BMW, partial plate ending in JKV. Reported at 8:20 a.m. Dispatch cleared Judge Cole's Lexus at 9:12. At 9:14, Officer Harris called for backup, reporting a confirmed stolen vehicle. Rios reads in silence. His jaw tightens. He sets the tablet down and looks at Maya again. Judge, I want to extend a personal apology for what you experienced. Apologies do not erase violations, Maya replies calmly. This stop was not an inconvenience. It was a breach of constitutional rights. The chief hesitates. His words careful. I understand. And I assure you it will be investigated thoroughly. The word investigated hangs in the air. Maya notices Park's glance shift ever so slightly. Even Ortiz stiffens. The implication is clear. Internal reviews are slow, often quiet, and sometimes buried. Maya keeps her voice level. Chief, this is not simply a matter for your department's review. It intersects directly with an active federal case regarding misconduct in traffic stops. What happened today will be entered into the record of that case. Rios's expression flickers. He knows what that means. Federal oversight. Scrutiny his department has worked hard to avoid. Before he can respond, the door opens again. Alex Kim steps inside carrying a thick folder and his phone buzzing in his hand. His presence cuts through the tension like a blade. Your Honor, he says formally, the Chief Justice has been briefed. An emergency council meeting is already being scheduled. The chief blinks. He wasn't expecting the wheels of the judiciary to move this fast. Park shifts slightly, her respect for procedure anchoring her in place. Maya sits straighter, her eyes steady on the chief. Then we move forward here now with clarity. Rios nods reluctantly. His tone tightens. Very well. Judge, what would you like as your next step? Maya's answer is crisp. I want both officers brought in separately. I want their statements recorded. And I want every moment of this morning preserved before anyone has time to forget or alter it. Outside the glass, the bullpen buzz rises again. Phones ring louder. Officers whisper with more urgency. The department feels the shift even if they cannot yet name it. For Officer Harris, this morning was supposed to be routine. For Judge Maya Cole, it is turning into something else entirely. Something that will not end in this room. Something that will shake the city before the day is done. The conference room door closes behind Chief Rios. The quiet that follows feels louder than the bullpen outside. Judge Maya Cole rests her hands on the table, calm but unyielding. She has already shifted from wronged citizen to judge in session. Lieutenant Park clears her throat. Judge Officer Ortiz has agreed to speak first. He'll provide his statement separately before Harris. Bring him in, Maya replies. Ortiz steps inside. He looks younger in the fluorescent light, shoulders tense but not defiant. He sits opposite Maya, eyes fixed on the tabletop. Park begins recording on her tablet. Officer Ortiz, Maya says, voice steady. Describe this morning from your perspective. He swallows, then begins. We had a call about a stolen vehicle, black BMW, partial plate ending in JKV. I was backup. Arrived after Officer Harris had initiated the stop. Maya nods. And when you arrived, what did you see? Ortiz glances up briefly. Judge, I saw you in the Lexus. I noticed the crowd forming. Officer Harris was giving sharp commands. I followed his lead. Did Officer Harris tell you dispatch had already cleared my vehicle, she asks, eyes steady on him. No, Your Honor. He said it was a confirmed stolen vehicle. Park makes a note. Her pen scratches against the tablet screen. Maya continues. When you checked my vehicle, what did you find? Registration and insurance both in your name, Ortiz admits. Then in the trunk I found the robes and case files. And how did Harris respond? He dismissed them, Ortiz says quietly. He said they could be forged. He ordered me to keep searching. The room holds the weight of silence. Maya leans forward. Officer Ortiz, have you ever seen Harris treat minority drivers with different scrutiny during stops? Ortiz hesitates. His jaw works as if wrestling with himself. Yes, he admits finally. I've seen it before. Maya lets the truth settle. Thank you for your honesty. Ortiz nods, stands, and exits the room. The door closes softly, but the sound feels like a gavel. Lieutenant Park speaks. Judge Harris is waiting. Bring him in, Maya says. The door opens again. Officer Nate Harris enters. Gone is the swagger from the roadside. He sits down, jaw set, eyes daring anyone to accuse him. The red light on the recorder blinks. The moment has arrived. Judge Cole leans forward slightly, her voice measured, every syllable carrying the weight of authority. Officer Harris, why did you escalate a traffic stop after dispatch cleared my vehicle? He straightens his back, forcing confidence into his tone. Reasonable suspicion. Vehicle match description. My instincts told me to proceed. Maya lets his words hang. The stolen vehicle was a black BMW, partial plate JKV. I was driving a Lexus, plate ending in RQ7. Please explain the basis for your suspicion. Harris shifts uncomfortably. The suspect could have switched vehicles. There was no suspect description, Park interjects, eyes on her tablet. The report only listed the car, sweat beads along Harris's temple. My training told me to be cautious. Maya's tone sharpens just enough. Are you aware that I served 8 years in military intelligence, specializing in deception analysis? I can read body language and vocal stress with precision. Right now, every indicator points to deliberate dishonesty. Harris clenches his jaw. I want union representation. That is your right, Maya replies calmly, for departmental discipline. But this is a potential federal civil rights matter. Your union has no shield here. Alex Kim places a laptop on the table and turns the screen toward Harris. The dispatch log appears time-stamped. At 9:12 a.m., dispatch cleared Maya's vehicle. At 9:14 a.m., Harris called in a confirmed stolen vehicle. The contradiction glows in digital clarity. Harris's eyes narrow. I want to speak with the chief. Chief Rios is already speaking with the Attorney General's office, Park says flatly. The silence is suffocating. Maya studies Harris for a long moment. Then she asks the question that cuts through every pretense. Officer Harris, did you know who I was when you initiated the stop? The question lands like thunder. Harris doesn't answer. His silence is louder than any denial. Park stops the recording. Interview concluded at 10:43 a.m. The record is set. The truth is now written in the department's own files. Maya rises slowly, her mind already on the next steps. This morning began on the street. Now it is about to enter the courthouse, and the courthouse is where truth becomes law. The courthouse towers ahead, white marble glowing against the midday sun. News vans already crowd the steps, reporters angling for any glimpse of the drama that began on Cedar and 3rd. What had started as a simple commute has now turned into a case that could reshape an entire police department. Judge Maya Cole steps out of the government vehicle escorted by Lieutenant Park and Alex Kim. Every eye turns toward her, but she does not flinch. She walks with measured strides through the private entrance, avoiding the swarm of cameras outside. She is not here for spectacle. She is here for justice. Inside, Chief Justice Rivera waits in the corridor, his usual composure cracked by urgency. Maya, this is unprecedented. Are you certain you want to preside today? Absolutely certain, she replies without hesitation. This is not just my case anymore. It's the city's case. It's the Constitution's case. The robing room is quiet. She slips into the heavy black garment Harris dismissed as a costume. The fabric rests on her shoulders like armor. She adjusts the collar, checks the mirror, and exhales slowly. She has faced generals, prosecutors, and politicians. Today she faces the truth itself. The bailiff's voice rises as the doors open. All rise. The packed courtroom stands. Rows of officers sit stiff-backed, union representatives at their sides. Chief Rios occupies the front with his legal counsel. Harris and Ortiz sit behind him, faces pale and drawn. Lieutenant Park takes her seat separately, gaze forward, spine straight. Attorneys and journalists fill every remaining bench. Maya takes her place at the bench, her presence filling the chamber. You may be seated, she says, her voice resonant. Silence settles. This court now addresses the consolidated matters of Cole versus Metro Police Department and the incident involving this judge earlier today. A ripple of unease moves through the room. She leans forward slightly, eyes sweeping across the assembly. For those unfamiliar with procedure, let me be clear. Federal rules permit a judge to hear a matter involving themselves when the integrity of the judiciary itself is at stake. Today's events have struck at that integrity. She nods to Alex Kim. He activates the courtroom display. On the screens, military records appear first. Before my appointment to the bench, I served 8 years in naval intelligence, Maya explains. My work centered on deception analysis, counterintelligence, and operational law. The screens shift to her judicial records. I graduated first in my law class, clerked for the Supreme Court, and have served on this bench for 20 years. I chair the Judicial Conduct Committee for this district. The audience absorbs the weight of her credentials. Harris shifts uncomfortably in his chair. This morning's events, Maya continues, provide direct evidence of the very misconduct this case seeks to address. Evidence not through secondhand testimony but through my own experience. Alex plays the first exhibit, dashboard camera footage from the stop. The courtroom watches Harris approach, hand on holster, voice sharp. They watch Maya present identification. They watch Harris dismiss it. They watch the cuffs lock on her wrists. Note the timestamp, Maya directs. At 9:12 a.m., dispatch cleared my vehicle. At 9:14 a.m., Officer Harris called for backup on a confirmed stolen vehicle. Murmurs ripple through the gallery. The footage cannot be explained away. Exhibit 2. Bystander videos from 7 different angles, voluntarily provided by witnesses. They show the confrontation from every side. The crowd watching. The robe in the trunk. The badge ignored. Exhibit 3, the full dispatch audio. Unit 47 dispatch says clearly, vehicle plate RQ7 registered to Maya Cole. No flags. Not a match for the stolen BMW. 17 seconds later, Harris's voice. Dispatch, I have a confirmed stolen vehicle. Requesting backup. The contradiction hangs in the air, undeniable. Exhibit 4, Harris's personnel file. 12 complaints in 3 years. All dismissed. But when cross-referenced with dispatch logs, a pattern emerges. In 9 cases, Harris escalated after vehicles were cleared. In 9 cases, minority drivers were detained without cause. The chief's counsel scribbles furiously, eyes flicking between the file and the judge. Exhibit 5. Courthouse surveillance from 2 weeks ago. Harris in plain clothes standing near the judicial entrance, photographing Maya's vehicle. He was not on duty. He had no business there. Officer, Maya addresses him directly. Would you like to explain your presence? Harris remains silent, his attorney gripping his arm tightly. Exhibit 6. Subpoenaed phone records obtained that morning. Calls between Harris and Roger Daniels. A former officer recently found liable in a brutality case. Calls before and after Maya's ruling against Daniels. Calls again the day before the stop. The courtroom gasps. The connections deepen. Maya turns to Lieutenant Park. Lieutenant, based on your experience, were Officer Harris's actions consistent with policy? Park rises, her voice steady. No, Your Honor. His actions violated multiple departmental protocols and, in my assessment, constitutional protections. Thank you, Lieutenant. Maya faces the courtroom once more. This morning's stop demonstrates not just error, but a pattern. A pattern this court cannot ignore. The attorneys shift uneasily. The silence grows heavier. This court finds sufficient evidence to expand the inquiry into a full department-wide review under federal oversight. Gasps echo through the chamber. Chief Rios rises in protest, but Maya continues without pause. The Department of Justice will appoint monitors. All traffic data will be analyzed. Quarterly reports will be required. This oversight will not end until systemic reform is proven. She fixes her gaze on Harris. Officer Harris is immediately suspended pending termination proceedings. Officer Ortiz is placed on administrative leave pending further review. She lifts the gavel. The strike reverberates like thunder. This court is adjourned until tomorrow at 9 a.m. when oversight structures will be set. The courtroom does not move. They sit stunned, watching law realign itself in real time. And as Judge Maya Cole stands, the nation's eyes shift toward Harbor City. A badge has fallen. A system must answer. Half a year has passed since the stop on Cedar and 3rd, but its echo still shapes Harbor City. The morning sun now rises over a department transformed, its culture reshaped by oversight, reform, and relentless accountability. Inside the police academy auditorium, rows of new recruits sit with manuals on their laps. The cover reads in bold letters, Constitutional Policing, Rights, Responsibilities, and Reform. Their voices quiet as the doors open. Judge Maya Cole enters, no longer wearing the robes Harris dismissed, but a tailored suit that signals equal weight. The projector glows with footage, the very dashboard camera recording of her unlawful stop. The same video that sparked federal intervention. She steps to the podium, her voice calm yet commanding. Your badge grants you authority, she tells them. But authority without accountability becomes tyranny. The cadets lean forward, pens ready. They are not being fed abstract theory. They are being shown the living proof of what failure looks like and what correction can accomplish. The back doors open again. Captain Jenna Park enters, her new insignia glinting under the lights. She takes her place at the side of the stage, transformed from the lieutenant who once stood silently into the leader of a new accountability division. Maya gestures toward her. 6 months ago, this officer faced a choice between protecting a colleague or protecting the Constitution. She chose the Constitution, and that choice changed the path of this department. The cadets murmur, some scribbling notes, others simply watching the living example of courage in uniform. Maya advances the presentation. Complaints down 47%, unlawful detentions reduced by 62. Community trust rising steadily month after month. Change is hard, she acknowledges. It forces us to examine old habits, to face the truth about what has been allowed. But the results speak for themselves. Chief Rios sits quietly in the front row. The once defensive leader has shifted, now humbled by the weight of what oversight revealed. Federal monitors track every reform. Data is reviewed quarterly. Transparency has become the new law. Maya changes the slide. On one side, Officer Nate Harris's termination notice. On the other, his federal indictment for civil rights violations. His face is absent, but the consequences are clear. He awaits trial now, no longer shielded by badge or department. His alliance with Roger Daniels, the disgraced former officer, laid bare through phone records and financial ties. What began as arrogance on a street corner has ended as evidence in a courtroom. Next slide. Officer Ortiz's statement of cooperation. By admitting his failures and pledging reform, he avoided Harris's fate. Instead, he works now in the accountability division, teaching recruits how to intervene, how to resist unlawful orders, how to protect the law by protecting citizens. Maya lets the silence hold. The strength of our system lies not in its perfection, but in its ability to correct itself. When we find failure, we must create opportunity for change. She gestures to Captain Park, who steps forward. Every day you will face choices, Park tells the cadets. Between loyalty to a colleague and loyalty to the oath you swore. 6 months ago I chose the Constitution. You must choose it too, no matter the cost. The cadets sit straighter. This is not lecture. This is legacy, Maya concludes. Transparency protects the good and exposes the corrupt. The camera does not lie. It observes. And through it, truth cannot be hidden. The room fills with applause. But beneath it is something deeper. The sound of a culture beginning to shift. One class at a time. Outside, reporters gather once more. This time not for scandal but for progress. What began as a single unlawful stop has become a blueprint for national reform. Departments across the country now study Harbor City's model. And in her chambers, Maya prepares for her next case. Different names. Different facts. But the same question. Will the law bend to protect power or will it stand to protect people? She straightens her robe. The answer, as always, must be written in the record. The courtroom fills again, this time not with shock but with expectation. 6 months of reform, oversight, and federal scrutiny have brought Harbor City to this moment. Every seat is taken. Officers sit straighter than before, their training reformed, their understanding deeper. The community watches from the gallery, eyes sharp, hearts waiting. Judge Maya Cole enters and takes her seat at the bench. The room rises with her, and in that single motion you can feel the weight of what has been built since the morning on Cedar and 3rd. This is no longer just about one unlawful stop. It is about a system that chose whether to bend or to rise. Be seated, she says. Her gavel rests lightly on the bench. But the silence is so thick that even her breath carries. Officer Nate Harris sits at the defense table. His badge is gone, his uniform replaced by a plain suit. Beside him sits his attorney, face drawn, voice low. The arrogance that once dripped from every word is absent. In its place, unease and fear. Maya looks out over the assembly. This court has reviewed the final evidence. Phone records, dispatch transcripts, body camera footage, witness testimony. All point to the same conclusion. Officer Harris acted not from caution, but from willful disregard of law and truth. A murmur moves through the gallery, but Maya's voice cuts through clean and clear. This court reaffirms its earlier findings. The Metro Police Department remains under federal oversight. Reforms will continue until systemic correction is proven beyond doubt. She pauses, letting the words hang. As for Officer Harris, she continues, this court refers all violations to federal prosecution for civil rights abuse and obstruction. Effective immediately, you are barred from any law enforcement position within this jurisdiction. Harris shifts in his seat, face paling. The gavel strikes once. The sound carries through the marble chamber like final judgment. But Maya is not finished. To the community, she says, justice is not simply the punishment of one man. Justice is the rebuilding of trust, the restoring of balance, the renewal of rights that were taken. She turns her eyes toward the cadets seated in the gallery, the next generation of officers brought to witness the conclusion. Remember this day. Remember what authority without accountability becomes. And remember that the law does not protect titles or uniforms. It protects people. All people. Silence, then applause. Not for her, but for what the moment represents. A turning point carved into the record. Outside, cameras flash. Reporters push microphones forward. But Judge Maya Cole walks past them all, robe flowing in the afternoon wind. Her steps are steady. Her gaze is forward. In the distance, the courthouse bell tolls. The sound is not an ending. It is a beginning, because justice, when truly alive, does not close with one case. It continues. One reform at a time. One truth at a time. One choice at a time. The story that began on a city street with flashing lights and raised voices now stands as a reminder across the nation. That no one, not officer nor judge, stands above the law. And as Maya Cole returns to her chambers, she knows the work is not finished. It never is. But today the scales of justice hold steady, balanced, firm, unbroken.